Okay. Well, I tell you what, we're going to get started, and it's very, very exciting to be able to talk about this topic today. We cover a lot of different topics each week, and we have experts, medical experts, and doctors who come on and talk a little bit about how the products that we manufacture can help. And this week's topic specifically, we're talking about Alzheimer's and about neurodegenerative issues. And one of the greatest things that cannabinoids can do is they are neuroprotectants. And so I will let the experts talk about that in just a minute. But before I turn the time over to them, I'll tell you a little bit about our company. We were founded just a couple of years ago, but prior to that, we started growing our own hemp plants. And we started actually in Canada and then moved to America in 2014 when it became legal to grow hemp in America. And we started with 3 different strains of hemp, and now we have over 88 different strains of hemp. And all of those strains of hemp have different cannabinoids and different cannabinoid profiles. And because of that, we're able to really focus on what those cannabinoids do. And we're very fortunate that we have such a good opportunity to share that with you today. So Stukavu was founded, I'm a co-founder with my wife and some dear friends, Keith and Crystal McMullen. And we are, as I always say, we're just normal people who are really good at growing hemp. And we set aside with 4 distinct missions and values. And so I want to share this with you. And then, like I said, a couple more slides, and then we'll turn the time over to our doctors here. But our first is we want to have quality and safe products. We know our product from seed to shelf. We grow our own hemp, we extract our own oils, and we manufacture our own products. Number 2 is this one right here that you see, is to share relevant and impactful knowledge. That's what we're doing today. That's why we have these meetings, is to share information so that people can get educated on what they're getting, and also to educate themselves on how to make an impact with other people, to build lifelong relationships, and then to serve other people. I love that we have people all over the world that we are getting to know and getting to meet. And so this is a beautiful thing for us as we get to know people, like I said, from all over the world. And so that's a big deal to us. This is me and my family. I know you can't see a picture of me right now, but I'm that bald-headed guy right there in the middle with my beautiful wife. And we have 8 kids. So they keep me running all the time, and we absolutely love them. This is our farm. This is one of our farms in Utah. This is a picture of it's not a picture from the internet. It's a picture of our farm. So you'll get a chance to see our farm if you come and visit us in October. And we are inviting everybody to come and get to see our farm and our facility. We would love to have you here. Why people choose our products are simply because all of our products are able to ship worldwide because they have 0% THC. So there's no psychotropic effect. We can ship them to all 50 states in America, as well as many countries, because they don't have any THC in them. We have years of experience. It's extremely bioavailable to your body and your system. And all of our products are third-party lab tested. And I will share one of those with you in a moment, because as we turn the time over to our doctors, what you'll see, or what you'll notice, is that they're going to talk about the neuro, the process or the neuroprotectants that they are. And so as they talk about that, I want to show you why that's important. This is where I spend most of my time. I'm in charge of manufacturing products and making products. So I work on this pathway quite a bit. This pathway is how these cannabinoids work. There's 113 cannabinoids that we know of. That they actually have said lately there's 115, so they're finding more and more. But these cannabinoids all start with a hemp plant, and then they converge one of 2 ways. And then as that is acid synthase, and then we heat it and decarboxylate it, it converts to these different neutral cannabinoids. And then if that sits around and oxidates, then it changes as well. So here's the important thing I want you to take away from this, is that each one of these has a pathway. And when we know that pathway, we know what it does and how it interacts with your body. So today, obviously, we're talking about your brain. So that's a big one. How does it minimize chronic stress, anxiety, as well as what this can do to help us with like Alzheimer's and neurodegenerative issues. So as you look here, this is our wheel. And in this wheel, we're going to talk a lot today about CBD. This one right here. Let me see if I can highlight a little bit. This CBD right here. You'll see it's neuroprotective. It's an antipsychotic, right? It's an anti-inflammatory. It's an immunosuppressant. But this neuroprotective part is what we're going to talk about today. And so, like I said, we're excited to have the doctors do their presentations. I'm going to skip to this scene. This is our oil that is full of CBD. As you can see, it's 600 milligram oil. This is our third-party lab test. It has 542 milligrams of CBD, but you're also getting CBDV, CBG, CBN, and CBC. So you're getting the benefits of many cannabinoids, not just CBD. We, again, are grateful for the presentation you're about to see. Dr. Raymond, I think he might be on. I know he's very, very busy and is an incredible, incredible man. And we're grateful for him helping Sukavu. And we're excited. Matter of fact, I spent some time yesterday. I'm trying to figure out how I can pin him down and keep him forever. I want to just fly him to America and hijack him and keep him here and make him live with me because he's so smart. So we love him. So I'm going to turn the time over to our doctors who are going to share the rest of the presentation.
Can you see my screen now?
We can. It looks though very much like you need to click on, like it's as if you were going to create a slideshow. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I think that's better.
Are my slides moving now?
Yep.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Okay. Okay. So we were given a definition of the neurodegenerative diseases. We said neurodegenerative diseases are more and more frequent nowadays, all this due to aging of the population. We know there is no curative treatment, but symptomatic treatment. We know that the research into the causes could improve the treatment. In definition, we can say neurodegenerative diseases can be defined as a degeneration of neurons leading to programmed cells death. This programmed cells death called apoptosis. As consequences, we can have alteration of major function directed by the brain, such as the cognitive function, the intellectual function, the motor function. On this slide, we can observe on the left a normal section of the brain showing us the cerebral cortex with its C convolutions, the hippocamp. On the right, we can see a narrowing of the cerebral cortex of the hippocampus, but also the widening of the ventricle. This imaging shows us at the right the Alzheimer imaging that is affected by neurodegenerative disease. On this slide, we have here a not exhaustive list of neurodegenerative diseases, such as the Alzheimer disease, the Parkinson disease, dementia, and so on and so forth. As for the Alzheimer disease, so we can have like symptoms, memory impairment, alteration of thinking, of judgment, of language, behavioral change. In this case, the nervous system zone affected are the cortex, hippocamp, and the cerebral trunk. As for the Parkinson disease, we have like symptoms, the limb tremor as rest, slowing of movement speed, decrease spontaneous mobility, muscles, we have muscle stiffness. So now we talked of heterogeneous diseases. Here listed are some neurological conditions affecting seniors. We can list here dementia, we can list here Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson, we can list, we can have stroke, we can have peripheral neuropathy and neuropathy. We have myasthenia gravis. The causes, talking of causes of neurodegenerative diseases, we have some unknown causes, but here we have 5% of the causes that are due to genetic, 95% of them are sporadic. In these sporadic causes, we can have mutations, we can have environmental factors, we can have drugs, we can have virus, and we can have stress too. Here, the diagnosis, the orientation diagnosis is based on the signs and symptoms of the disease. For example, we have just, we previously talked of Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. So this sign, the orientation of the diagnosis is based on each diagnosis. Alzheimer's disease, for example, we said we can have memory impairment, we can have behavioral change, we can have alteration of thinking. In Parkinson's disease, we said we can have limb tremor, arrest, slowing of movement speed. So this is the orientation of diagnosis. But still, we can have some blood checkup. We can have some EEG like electroencephalogram and electromyogram that we can do to improve our diagnosis. Actually. In the physiopathology of neurodegenerative diseases, we can count first the toxic aggregation of protein. Toxic aggregation of protein is one of the first element in the physiopathology of neurodegenerative diseases. This aggregation of protein is due to many factors, such as age, such as genetic mutation that we just previously talked about, environmental changes we talked about, the pH variation, oxidative stress, and heavy metal. These neurodegenerative diseases can lead, this aggregation of protein can lead to aggregation of misfolded protein, resulting in formation of senile plaquette. This senile plaquette is still called amyloid plaquette, and neural dysfunction that is called neural dysfunction and apoptosis. This on this image, we can see the formation or the formation of protein, the aggregation of protein that is called the amyloid plaquette that we just previously talked about. Here, we can see the mechanism of formation of apoptosis. We defined the apoptosis as the cells, the programmed cells dead, and we earlier said that the toxic aggregation of protein could lead to senile plaquette that we have just seen previously, and to apoptosis that we can see on this slide. Here we have the order on physiopathology. We have the second thing on physiopathology, that is increase of oxidative stress. We have previously seen oxidative stress as a factor of toxic aggregation of protein. This slide shows us the mechanism behind this stress in the cells. This oxidative stress is therefore due to the pathological imbalance between oxidizing agents such as spices reactive to oxygen, the dysfunction of mitochondria, heavy duty as metal, copper, environmental factors, and oxidant agent and antioxidant enzyme, vitamin C, and cofactor like zinc and selenium. On this image, we notice the homeostasis. This homeostasis, that the organism needs this homeostasis to make the balance, to therefore equilibrate the imbalance that is inside the body. Actually, here we can talk about the prevention. The prevention of neurodegenerative diseases. Here, the nutrition impact the prevention of neurodegenerative diseases by reducing our risks of developing the diseases by 30 to 50% of chances. In this prevention of neurodegenerative diseases, the control of cardiovascular risks, the cognitive stimulation, physical activity, the social engagement, and the social engagement are some preventive strategies. So we can see here list the strategy of prevention of these neurodegenerative diseases on this slide, such as the physical activity, the cognitive stimulation, the cardiovascular risk factor that we can see. On this slide is listed 5 foods that prevent neurodegenerative diseases, such as saltwater fish, green leafy vegetable, red fruits, nuts, extra virgin oil, meat, and 2 other foods that we have to avoid to prevent neurodegenerative diseases, such as meat. So meat and dairy product are to avoid in case to prevent neurodegenerative diseases. On this slide is listed 10 foods that are in favor of neurodegenerative diseases, such as we have 1 green vegetable per day. So we should be able to take 1 green vegetable per day, such as salad, such as cabbage. Second, a second non-starchy vegetable per day, such as carrot. The berries at least twice a week. We can take berries at least twice a week, like blackberry. We can take nuts, almost almond or other oil seed once a day. Extra virgin oil, and so on and so forth, some grains. Here we have 5 foods, which is listed 5 foods that we can avoid. We should avoid to prevent neurodegenerative diseases, such as butter, margarine, trunks, fat, cold cuts, cheese, less than 1 a week, meat less than 3 times a week, all fried food less than once a week. Pastry, we can have pasteurized and industrial sweet, and as little as possible, we should consume it. Okay, we previously talked about the treatment. We said there is no curative treatment of neurodegenerative diseases, but we have symptomatic treatment. So this treatment of neurodegenerative disease to slow the progression of neurodegenerative disease, not to cure the disease. We do not know the moment of the trigger of the neurodegenerative diseases. Late introduction of treatment leads to the apparition of neurodegenerative disease. This is what we can note on this slide, actually. On this other slide, we previously talked about the different causes of neurodegenerative disease that was classified like genetic factor, environmental factor, and so on and so forth. And these causes of neurodegenerative diseases had many mechanisms. The mechanism we talked about, like the aggregation of protein, that is the first mechanism we talked about. The augmentation of apoptosis, the apoptosis, that was the cells, the programmed cells death that we talked about. We talked about the elevation of stress, oxidant stress, that we talked about. And we can note that as for the treatment, they said there is no curative treatment, but the treatment was symptomatic. So depending on the mechanism here, we can note that we can have a treatment that is in accordance with one mechanism, such as like aggregation of proteins. We can have immunotherapy. We can have some immunotherapy. For the apoptosis, we can have treatment anti-apoptosis. So they are more specific of the mechanism, not treatment of the neurodegenerative diseases. Now we can talk about the CBD against neurodegenerative diseases. CBD fight against apoptosis, attenuate excitatory neurotransmitter. Study conducted at the Salk Institute showed that CBD fight against the appearance of amyloid plaque. A publication on the aging and mechanism of disease of the journal Nature highlighted the cleansing role of cannabinoid on the accumulation of amyloid plaque. Anti-inflammatory effect on CBD. So previously we talked about the action of CBD as an anti-inflammatory. That's what we're seeing. Professor David Schubert has shown that CBD helps neurons renew themselves and fight cells death. So here we are talking about the apoptosis. We define the apoptosis like cells, the programmed cells death. And they said CBD here helps to renew the cells to avoid this cells death. Effect on the endocannabinoid system, whose activation reduce the nervous degeneration, reduce pain, euphoria, stress, and anxiety. Several studies show the regression of symptoms of neurodegenerative condition under CBD. It is the same for the renewal of neuron and the cleaning of amyloid plaque. On this, we can see the biomolecular action of CBD on the brain, actually. We just talked about. Okay. By showing build up of the neural plaque, a pathological indication of dementia is the build-up of amyloid plaque within the neural tissue. Initial tests indicate the administrating CBD shows the growth of this aggressive toxic peptide. In summary of the main finding, demonstrating beneficial effect of cannabinoid compounds and ARTS model. Cannabinoid may target in parallel several processes that play key role in AD, including A-beta and tegoran processing chronic. As shown by the several studies around the world, we dare encourage effect. The cannabinoid contains Socavo product play a major role in the fight against neurodegenerative diseases in prevention and curative of mechanism described above. They are recommended in progressive doses to reach the optimal effect. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nguko.
And now do we get to hear this in French, I hope?
Ok. Alors, bonsoir à tout le monde et merci de l'attention que vous me portez. Alors, le travail que je vais faire maintenant est simplement de présenter le rôle des cannabinoïdes dans la prévention et la prise en charge des maladies neurodégénératives. Alors, on ne le dira jamais assez, dans la gamme de produits Socavo qui met à notre disposition effectivement une palette qui excelle exactement dans la prise en charge de plusieurs pathologies. Et
Dr. Tedgar, your internet connection is breaking.
Yeah, Dr.
Cannot see
Tedgar.
your screen.
Yeah.
you can see my screen. Can you hear
No.
me?
No.
Now we can. It was breaking in and out.
Yeah,
Okay. I
you
want
have
to
to
know if
reset it back.
okay, the connection is good. I want to know if you can hear me very well.
Yeah, we can see you, but we can't see your screen.
I cannot see my screen. Okay,
Yes.
please give me one minute. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we
I
can.
think you have to put it in presentation mode.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
That looks good.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. So, alors, voilà, on va entrer dans le vif du sujet concernant donc les maladies neurodégénératives. Alors, je le disais tantôt, il s'agit là d'un enjeu majeur de la société et de plus en plus fréquente ces maladies. Donc, à cause du vieillissement de la population et le fait qu'il n'existe pas de traitement curatif. Alors, le traitement symptomatique, par contre, il est bien établi. Et il est important de préciser que la recherche sur les causes pourrait améliorer le traitement. Alors, en guise de définition, les maladies neurodégénératives ne sont rien d'autre qu'une dégénérescence des neurones, donc qui va évoluer, sinon conduire à une sorte de mort cellulaire programmée, encore appelée apoptose, Et les conséquences sont principalement l'altération des grandes fonctions, donc c'est-à-dire des fonctions cognitives, intellectuelles et motrices. Alors, cette diapositive met en évidence la différence qui existe entre un cerveau atteint de la maladie d'Alzheimer et un cerveau normal. Et vous verrez ici que principalement cérébral et un rétrécissement de l'hippocampe. Simplement une liste non exhaustive des maladies neurodégénératives. Et la principale qu'on connaît, c'est la maladie d'Alzheimer, après la maladie de Parkinson. La démence à corps de Lévy aussi, qui peut être là. Et vous verrez que les symptômes majoritaires, c'est-à-dire les symptômes clés, tournent toujours autour des troubles, on va dire, neurodégénératifs, sinon cognitifs. OK. Et les zones les plus atteintes, on va dire le système nerveux central, donc la moelle épinière et puis l'encéphale. Alors, on va évoluer. Donc, les maladies dites hétérogènes, donc les troubles neurologiques qui affligent les personnes âgées comprennent donc la démence, la maladie d'Alzheimer, la maladie de Parkinson, l'accident vasculaire cérébral, la neuropathie périphérique et les polyneuropathies. Il est important de souligner aussi qu'il existe des myasthénies graves. Alors, je ne sais pas si vous m'entendez bien, mais je vais évoluer un peu rapidement. Donc, il est important de comprendre que les causes jusqu'ici ne sont pas connues pour mais il existe 5% des maladies qui sont causées, c'est 95% qui relèvent des neurodégénératifs, des drogues et des virus et principalement le stress aussi. Alors, l'orientation diagnostique doit se faire principalement, comme on l'a vu dans la diapo précédente, sur les signes et les symptômes. Et de manière paraclinique, on peut faire un électroencéphalogramme, autant pour moi, un électromyogramme, une imagerie par résonance magnétique et puis bien évidemment,
Yeah, the internet keeps.
Yeah, it keeps Dr. Tetka. If you can hear us, we cannot hear you.
Keeps breaking.
Alors, il est important de comprendre le mécanisme de mort des neurones. Donc, la physiopathologie relève simplement de ce qu'on appelle.
Yeah, I think the internet is not stable. It's on and off.
I'm very sorry for the kind of my data network. So please, I apologize for all that. But I'll try to go on with my presentation. So I'll try to share my screen, please.
Well, I can hear you, even though sometimes it drags, but
Okay.
I can follow up.
Okay, thanks. So can I go on? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
OK. Alors, cette diapositive révèle simplement le mécanisme de formation des agrégats de protéines, donc des plaques amyloïdes. On ne va pas entrer dans les détails, mais simplement, il faut retenir que les protéines natives vont évoluer, donc déjà de manière intracellulaire, pour ensuite se retrouver de manière intracytoplasmique. Et à la fin, on aura des agrégats qui sont extracellulaires et donc vont favoriser donc l'apparition, parce que là, à ce moment, l'échange du flux nerveux qui ne se fera plus bien va entraîner l'apparition des maladies neurodégénératives. Alors, les conséquences sont l'augmentation de l'apoptose. Alors, on l'a vu tout à l'heure, l'apoptose n'est rien d'autre qu'une mort cellulaire programmée. Et le mécanisme, il est tel que vous pouvez le voir sur le schéma. Donc, au départ, on a une cellule qui est normale. Progressivement, parce que son paquet génétique est programmé à la faire mourir, si on peut dire ça comme ça, alors la cellule va être rétrécie et la chromatine se condensera. Et la va former ce qu'on appelle des cloques, donc elle sera un peu déformable. Et ça évoluera très rapidement vers ce qui vont apoptotique et il y aura, c'est ce que décrit un peu cette diapositive. Alors, je ne sais pas si vous m'entendez, mais je vais continuer. L'augmentation du stress oxydatif est l'une des conséquences.
On vous entend bien, docteur.
Voilà, donc l'oxydation, l'augmentation du stress oxydatif est une des conséquences donc de la destruction des protéines. Alors, le mécanisme se fait naturellement par, on va dire, une diminution des enzymes antioxydantes et des cofacteurs tels que le zinc et le sélénium. Et on aura donc une sorte on va dire, d'augmentation des oxydants, ça veut dire des espèces réactives à l'oxygène. Et les mitochondries vont fonctionner de manière anormale. Et principalement, les métaux tels que le fer et le cuivre et les facteurs environnementaux en sont des potentiels stimulants. Et donc, ça va un peu créer un déséquilibre pathologique dans le stress oxydant. Et voilà, cette diapositive simplement peut nous permettre, à travers le CBD qui sera encore un moyen de réguler, sinon d'équilibrer l'homéostasie dans la prise en charge ou sinon dans le traitement des maladies neurodégénératives. Alors, on va évoluer rapidement dans la prévention des maladies neurodégénératives. Bon, rappelons-nous que l'alimentation représente ici un facteur majeur dans la prise en charge de ces maladies-là. Donc, si on réduit le risque, on a environ, donc si on réduit le risque si on réduit le risque de 30, on a la possibilité effectivement de lutter contre ces maladies-là. De présenter un peu des diapositives de manière résumée, nous présente un peu des comportements, sinon des facteurs qui peuvent nous permettre dans l'alimentation de modifier, sinon de prévenir l'apparition des maladies neurodégénératives. Alors, on va évoluer. Cette diapositive nous donne de manière aussi encore exhaustive 5 aliments pour prévenir les maladies neurodégénératives. Et c'est principalement les poissons d'eau salée, les légumes à feuilles vertes, les fruits rouges et l'huile d'olive extra vierge. Alors, deux aliments. Alors, aliments à privilégier aussi pour prévenir ces maladies, c'est un légume vert par jour, ou des épinards. Un deuxième légume non féculent par jour, ça peut être des carottes, des courgettes, de l'asperge, du poireau, du céleri ou des aubergines. Alors, des baies au minimum 2 fois par semaine, donc des myrtilles ou des framboises, des noix amandes ou autres oléagineux, tant pour moi, désolé. Alors, 1 fois par jour et de l'huile d'olive extra vierge, ça peut aussi aider. Alors, des céréales complètes 3 fois par semaine, du pain, du quinoa ou du riz et des poissons gras 1 fois par semaine, de préférence petits, et des légumineuses 4 fois par semaine. Donc, ça peut être des petits pois, des lentilles ou du soja. Alors, des aliments à éviter. Alors, 5 aliments à éviter, c'est le beurre, les margarines et les graisses telles que les charcuteries. Les fromages, moins d'1 fois par semaine. La viande, moins de 3 fois par semaine. Tous les aliments frits, moins d'1 fois par semaine. Et la pâtisserie, les viennoiseries, les sucreries industrielles, le moins possible. Alors, le traitement. Alors, il est important de comprendre qu'il n'existe pas de traitement connu des maladies neurodégénératives. Par contre, un traitement symptomatique avec pour effet, pour objectif, de ralentir la progression. Et on ne connaît pas le moment du déclenchement. Alors, la favorisation de ces maladies neurodégénératives, c'est l'introduction tardive du traitement. Ça, il faut le préciser aussi. Alors, les stratégies thérapeutiques reposent en principe sur les mécanismes neurodégénératifs. Et ce que je peux dire ici, c'est que dans l'agrégation toxique des protéines, la meilleure stratégie thérapeutique qui est optée, c'est l'immunothérapie dirigée contre les agrégats. Donc, sachant déjà quelles sont les causes des maladies neurodégénératives, et on l'a vu précédemment, les facteurs génétiques, les mutations, il est important de comprendre le mécanisme neurodégénérescence pour initier le traitement qui sera le mieux adéquat. Donc, on a le traitement anti-apoptotique, on a le traitement antioxydant, on a la favorisation d'une autre voie de dégradation des protéines et on a la thérapie cellulaire. Et encore, comme je le dis, toutes ces stratégies thérapeutiques correspondent au mécanisme de neurodégénérescence. Voilà, on va évoluer. Alors, ici, principalement, parce que, étant donné que nous, nous présentons encore les bienfaits des produits sous Kavu. Donc, nous verrons ici comment est-ce que le CBD contre les maladies neurodégénératives peut effectivement, on va dire, peut favoriser une rémission ou une guérison de ces maladies-là. Alors, le CBD a un effet de lutte contre l'apoptose. Et en second recours, il atténue les neurotransmetteurs excitateurs. Alors, une étude récente menée par la Salk Institute montre que le CBD lutte contre l'apparition des plaques d'amyloïdes. Et on l'a vu quel était l'effet de ces plaques d'amyloïdes-là. Alors, une publication du Aging and Mechanism of Disease de la revue Nature a mis en évidence le rôle nettoyant des cannabinoïdes sur l'accumulation des plaques d'amyloïdes. Et encore, on va le redire encore, parce que dans toutes les présentations précédentes, l'effet anti-inflammatoire des CBD n'est plus approuvé. Alors, le professeur David Skudberg a démontré que le CBD aide les neurones à se renouveler et lutter contre la mort cellulaire. Alors, un effet sur le système endocannabinoïde dont l'activation réduit la dégénérescence nerveuse, réduit la douleur, l'euphorie, le stress et l'anxiété. Alors, plusieurs études aussi montrent la régression des symptômes des affections neurodégénératives sous CBD. Et il en est de même pour le renouvellement des cellules et le nettoyage des plaques amyloïdes. Alors, cette diapositive simplement nous montre un peu le mécanisme biomoléculaire du CBD au niveau du cerveau. Donc, pour faire simple, le CBD va se fixer sur ses récepteurs CBD1, CBD2 en fonction de la cellule nerveuse. Et l'effet principal sera une augmentation de la neurogénèse au niveau de l'hippocampe. Et au niveau des cellules gliales, principalement des astrocytes et des microglies, il y aura une diminution de la réactivité. Alors, l'effet attendu, c'est on va dire, une plasticité de la synapse et qui donc va favoriser un meilleur, passage de l'influx nerveux, donc dans le traitement des maladies neurodégénératives. Alors, rapidement ici, sur cette diapositive, vous verrez que le CBD dans la maladie d'Alzheimer, pour ce cas spécifique, a donc un effet au niveau de... Il va donc bloquer l'apoptose, il va réduire l'inflammation au niveau nerveux et favoriser une gliosis. Bon, autant pour moi, une gliosis. Bon, il est aussi important de comprendre que le CBD va augmenter la clairance du peptide A-bêta, qui est un peptide très important aussi dans la circulation de l'influx nerveux. Alors, on va évoluer rapidement. Cette diapositive, pour ne pas faire très long aussi, nous montre simplement la différence entre un cerveau ou bien les cellules nerveuses atteintes de la maladie d'Alzheimer et les cellules normales. Et donc, le ralentissement, en ralentissant l'accumulation des plaques neurales, une indication pathologique de la démence est l'accumulation de plaques amyloïdes dans le tissu neural. Et les premiers tests indiquent que l'administration de CBD ralentit la croissance de ces peptides agressifs et toxiques. Et donc, récemment encore, un peu plus avant, en 2008, donc une étude publiée dans le Molecular Pharmaceutics a révélé que le CBD ralentissait cette prolifération amyloïde de peptides A-bêta. Voilà. Alors, en résumé, donc, les principaux résultats démontrant les effets bénéfiques des composés cannabinoïdes dans les types de la maladie d'Alzheimer, les cannabinoïdes peuvent cibler en parallèle plusieurs processus qui jouent des rôles clés dans la maladie d'Alzheimer, notamment traitement aberrant dans le peptide A-bêta. Et on va évoluer. Alors, comme le témoignent plusieurs études à travers le monde avec leur effet entourage, les cannabinoïdes contenus dans les produits sous Kavu jouent un rôle majeur dans la lutte contre les maladies neurodégénératives, en préventif et en curatif, par des mécanismes d'écriture. Et ils sont conseillés à des doses progressives pour atteindre l'optimum efficace. Et c'est sur cette diapo que je vais vous remercier pour votre aimable attention. Et je vais repasser la parole comme ça à M. Zeng. Merci.
Merci, Dr. Teka.
Yeah, merci. Thank you. I don't speak French, but I did hear the English version. And thank you everybody for joining us. We are very, very grateful for the doctors who took the time today to share this presentation. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining us and learning about how cannabinoids and our cannabinoids at Sukabu, how they can help you live healthier. And we are so grateful to have these great presentations every Saturday where we learn the science and the medical studies and the history behind how these things work. So thank you very, very much for your time today and for being here. We are very blessed to have amazing doctors and amazing friends all over the country sharing this information so that we can all live better and live healthier. So we really, really appreciate your time. Everybody have a great Saturday wherever you are in the world, and we hope to see you again next Saturday. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good day too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.